Hello, 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 and welcome back. If you are watching on YouTube, you will notice I am in a different location today. I am still in my house, obviously, but I am coming back on YouTube this week because I'm able to do that. Last week it just was more feasible for me to do my episode outside and not with the camera, so that's what happened. But you'll notice I don't have my podcasting mic this week. All is well. I could bring it out here, but I choose not to because the dogs are fine. The dogs are actually around me, right around me as I'm recording this, so it's just easier to record it without the mic, still good quality for this week, and just do it that way. It is raining outside, so the dogs are just nice and calm and mellow in here as we sit and just snuggle together. So yeah, that's that. I was racking my brain of like, what do I want to talk about this week? And this topic that I'm sharing with you today is one that has kind of come up multiple times in the last couple of weeks. I've heard people talking about it on the news. When I was in California last weekend, um, some of my family had been talking about it. And so I'm like, you know what? We're going to talk about it this week. And I'm going to come with the facts, and I'm also going to come with some suggestions moving forward so that hopefully, if this is a topic that you feel is near and dear to you, it's something you're struggling with, that maybe you can start to implement some of these things that I am going to share with you as part of my suggestions at the end. So what I want to do is give you a brief, and by that I mean like a one sentence synopsis of the history of mankind. Then we'll slide into the facts, which there's a lot of them, research included with the facts that I'm sharing. And then we will dive into at the end, we'll wrap up, tie it all with a nice little bow up with suggestions, for moving forward and how you can hopefully decrease the amount of sitting that you're doing. So let's get to it. Okay. First things first is we as mankind come from a history of over 6 million years of being hunters and gatherers. And so for us as mankind to now be doing the exact opposite most of the time, which is sitting, right? A lot of our jobs require us to be sitting for extended periods of time. That taxes our body, right? Our bodies were not built for that. Our bodies were built to move and be active. That is what humankind is here to do. And so the fact that we are getting away from that and we're having, the opposite is taking over, we're sitting a lot, is just not good for the body because again, it was not made for that. So I want to share with you the facts, and there's a lot of them. I also want to share with you that the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, has come out with 100+ page document on how they are trying to reverse this sedentary lifestyle that is prevalent in many countries, not just the United States, across the globe. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, I'm going to give you a little bit of information on what they're trying to do. But if you want to read more in depth, like I said, there's 100+ page document that you have access to on the interwebs, if you so choose to go and check that out. So yeah, first things first is that we know from research, from studies that have been done, that sedentary lifestyle can lead to an increased risk of cardiometabolic disorders. And these include, but are not limited to, stroke, heart disease, diabetes, insulin resistance, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and pulmonary artery hypertension. So, I mean, that's just a snippet of some of the things that could start to go wrong in our bodies if we are constantly living day in and day out a very lethargic, sedentary lifestyle. Also, statistic here is that global physical activity was estimated at 27.5% in 2016, with women being more sedentary than men. And higher income countries were 2 times higher in their rates of sedentary lifestyle than lower income countries, which that makes sense to me. Hopefully that makes sense to you, because in lower income countries, they have to do a lot more, right? They're probably out farming the lands. They're probably out, finding food, especially third world countries where they don't have access to, the resources that we do. So it makes sense to me that countries that have less resources are going to have to do more physically to get what they need in order to survive. Like I said, the WHO has created a plan to increase activity. This initiative started in 2018, and the plan is to go to increase physical activity in countries across the world by 2030. And they want to reduce the inactivity rate, or I should say percentage, by 15%. So again, if you want to check out that plan, which is over 100 plus, excuse me, pages long, feel free to go check that out. I skimmed it in preparation for this episode, but obviously it would take a lot more time to go through that, and with a fine-tooth comb to get all the ins and outs of that plan. But just a couple things that I pulled from that plan that I wanted to share with you. They want to, the WHO is trying to help increase across the globe more ways to add things like bike lanes to roads so that people can utilize, more physical activity, approaches and ways to get to and from point A to point B. They want to increase mobility in infrastructure, so more walking paths, scooters, and bikes available to people to move back and forth, as well as strengthening access to public green spaces. So again, that's just a small snippet. There are so many other things that they are trying to do to increase movement and physical activity across the globe. Another thing that I wanted to share with you, which I think is pretty scary, is that physical inactivity, being sedentary, has become the fourth leading risk factor of mortality, of death. Additionally, globally, it is the cause of 3.2 million deaths and 32 million disabilities per year. And then we get into kind of the nitty-gritty. So sitting for more than 8 hours without physical activity has about the same mortality risk as obesity and smoking. The analysis of over 1 million people indicated in research that moderate intensity physical activity for 60 to 70 minutes a day can reduce some of the negative effects of prolonged sitting. So if you are someone who is, doing a desk job most of the week, if you can get 60 to 75 minutes a day, so an hour and 15 minutes a day of, moderate intensity physical activity. So walking is a great example of that. You can help to reduce some of those negative effects of sitting. Additionally, 4 hours of TV watching, we do a lot, we as a nation in the United States do a lot of sitting and binge watching television. So sitting and watching TV for 4 hours straight with no movement is equated with a 50% higher risk of all-cause mortality than those who sit for less than 2 hours at a time. So just decreasing the amount of time you're sitting can be helpful. Even if you're doing some binge watching, get up, after an hour, move around, and then go back and watch some episodes, or watch some episodes while you're doing things. That's what I do. I am like undiagnosed ADHD, I feel, and I can't sit without doing things. And so I am getting up and moving because I can't just sit for an extended period of time. My body just won't allow me to do that. I have to be doing things or moving my body. Additionally, sitting for more than 23 hours a week has a 64% higher risk of cardiovascular disease. So people who are sitting for more than 23 hours a week have a 64% higher increase of cardiovascular disease related mortality than those who sit for less than 11 hours a week. So again, we're not talking about like going from zero to hero. There are, just shifts that we can make. And I'm going to share more about how you can do that to decrease the really scary implications of this sedentary lifestyle that so many people have subscribed to. Um, another thing, we don't have the concrete evidence yet, but there are associations being drawn between prolonged sitting and an increased risk of cancer. Cancers like breast cancer, colorectal cancer, lung cancer, prostate, endometrial, and ovarian cancers. And again, while there's still an unclear link between the two, um, C-reactive protein has been a marker for cancer, and those that have, those that are living a sedentary lifestyle, have seen, when we've tested them, we've seen an increased C-reactive protein level or C-reactive protein levels in their body, in those that, are more sedentary. So, while we don't have the official evidence, there are some indicators that, are trending in that direction, which is quite scary. Additionally, sitting exerts more pressure on the back. And if you're, on your computer and your head's down, or you've got your tablet or your phone and your head is down, angled downwards, that can increase neck pain as well. So, by sitting for long periods of time, we're affecting our back negatively, we're affecting our neck negatively, and increasing issues and risks for more complications in other parts of our body. And additionally, blood clots. So, the lack of movement means that blood is not flowing effectively. So that can cause, potential risk for an increase of blood clotting, which is definitely not good, as we know. And so all that being said, I know that's a lot to take in, but I, want to give you all the research and facts to show you how scary this is, that this is becoming, it's the fourth leading cause of mortality at this point. That's not good. And we have the power. This is one of those things where we have the power to decrease it by just making better choices for ourselves. So, a couple suggestions I have for you. One is, if you are work in an office, you work from home, if you work from home, get a standing desk. Ask your boss if there's ways for you to, get a discount on a standing desk, or, maybe find a grant or an initiative that will allow, you and your colleagues to get standing desks. If you are a teacher like me, I'm about to bring in, I've had it at home all summer because I moved buildings, but I'm about to bring in this platform that allows me to put my laptop on a stand so that I can stand and not sit. So, find creative ways to increase your ability to stand, because that is helpful, keep your body moving, right? So standing desks are great. Walking pads. I don't have a walking pad, but I definitely want to get one for home use in the future. The problem is that I'm not home enough during the school year to warrant that being needed. But if I were to ever, leave public education and have you know, um, a work from home job, that would be amazing to have a walking pad, because it could allow me to keep my body moving while I'm working. So, again, that could be something that you ask for at your office. Maybe your office, is on these initiatives like the WHO is, working on and towards, and, maybe your office has some sort of a discount, or they will willingly give you a walking pad for your, in-home office, or your office at your corporate place of work, or your place of work. So yeah, standing desks, walking pads, um, and then those things of course cost money. This last one that I'm going to share with you costs nothing at all, which is, you know, you taking intentional movement breaks throughout the day. Whether that be, going to a nearby park on your lunch break, if you have access to walking paths where you work nearby, taking your lunch break to go outside and walk those paths, walking the building if that's not accessible. Um, just getting up and stretching even too, doing some light yoga if you can in either your office if there's space or a room that maybe is not used. And just getting creative, right? I think in this day and age, we have the ability to do these things. It's putting forth the effort. It's does your health and your longevity of life matter to you? Because if it does, you're going to prioritize making these things happen, right? So, all that being said, you know, none of this was meant to scare you. It's just meant to inform you. And I hope that if you are in a place of work where you do a lot of sitting, that, you start to, hopefully this is not the first time you're hearing of this, but hopefully this helps you to, reignite that desire of getting up and moving. Start with, the small things, right? Which is, like I said, getting up, every half hour or hour if you're at home, and move for a little bit. Thinking about what we talked about. If you're watching a show, maybe couple it with walking on a treadmill or doing the elliptical or taking a walk around the block. You can still do the things that you love while also supporting your health and wellness. So it's all about just finding ways to make these things accessible, make these things manageable, and make them a habit. Because once we, develop that automaticity of it just becomes second nature, and we can continue to make these good choices for ourselves without really having to put forth extra effort, extra energy. Um, so that being said, I hope this episode supported you. As always, if it is an episode that you're like, wow, I know someone who needs to hear this, please send them the link. I would love for you to do that. If you have any topic suggestions on episodes, I'm always down to hear them. So there is a link at the top of the episode for you to send me a text message. Feel free to send me a text message on any and all questions, comments, thoughts on future episodes, anything that I've shared now and in the past. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing week, and I will be back next week with what I plan to share. It would be an interview. So stay tuned. Hope you have a great week, and we will chat soon. Take care.